Hey, what's up everybody? This is VisitJoan and welcome to another part of the Foxbury Towers build. This is part 2, so if you didn't see part 1, I would definitely recommend checking that out. It will be linked at the end, but in this part, I'm going to be building the top floor of the second tower, which is a living learning community. Now, for those of you that have probably never been to college or don't know what a living learning community is, it's basically, a whole floor or a part of a residence hall that is basically dedicated to students that pretty much all have something in common that has like a unique bunch of needs. Like, at my school, there was the Teach House where everybody there was studying to become a teacher. There's the LGBTQA house, there's the health house, and then there was, the one I lived in for a semester, which was the SET house, which is STEM minus the math. And my mom recommended it, and I thought it would be a good idea just because, it would be filled with people who have, very difficult classes and not people who are psychology majors who are busy pretty much partying through college. Because, my mom, she would tell horror stories about going to college in the 1970s and being a woman in STEM in a pretty much all-female residence hall. And how girls would be just showing up to the dining hall in like their pajamas with curlers in their hair. And then, how she went to class and there would be like sorority girls who didn't get enough time to study because they had to attend a midnight ceremony for one of their sisters that got engaged. And I'm just thinking, that really wouldn't cut into my study time because I wouldn't be studying at midnight anyway. My brain shuts down around 7, 8, and I just can't study after that. But I did live in the SET house for a semester, and we did get to go on a field trip to the Museum of Science and Industry. But at the end of that semester, we had to pick where we were going to live next year. I really didn't know exactly where to go because they wouldn't let me on the same floor for some reason. And I didn't want to do the computer science floor because that was like at the very bottom of the residence hall wing, and to get there you would have to go down, and then the windows, you'd be partially underground, and then the windows, would be like really high up, and that just really sounded annoying. And plus I like being higher up in buildings, not lower in buildings. So I picked a different floor, and sometime between when I selected the room and when I moved in, it suddenly became the ROTC floor. Which was really interesting because I remember one time I was walking back from class and I heard a whole bunch of guys singing in unison in the shower. And I'm just like, okay. But the best community, which I never lived on the floor for that, but I was an honorary member. And that was, a bunch of students who were taking foreign language classes. And what we do is we get together for dinner Monday through Thursday from 4 to 5:30, and we'd eat, and then we'd talk in our respective language. Although my group never did, and we never really got in trouble for it. But I started going in October of 2012, and then I went for like the rest of the year, and then I continuously went for the fall semester after that, even though I was all the way on the other side of campus. But the semester after that, almost the entire group went to study abroad in Japan, so I didn't really do it that semester. And the year after that, I didn't really do it as much. I started at the beginning of the semester, but I just didn't do it as much because I was on the other side of campus again, and I just didn't want to walk all the way over in the dark, and I had to pretty much like focus on these computer programs, and I didn't have time to devote 2.5 hours to going to dinner. And it just wasn't as fun anymore as like that first year, honestly. But to be completely honest, I miss it. I miss having something to look forward to every day. I miss hanging out with people, and I miss just having fun with friends. And even, a couple years after that first year, I just wished I could go back to that first year and just experience that again. And, and especially after I graduated, that scene from Avengers Endgame just hit me really hard because I had spent the previous 4 years wishing I could go back to 2012. And then they go back to 2012 and it's just like, oh my goodness, that was just emotional. But I could tell you all of these stories about flirt dinners, but I'm not going to because we don't have enough time for that in this video. But there is one I just have to tell you because I just can't not bring this up and not tell this story. It's just too funny to leave out. So anyway, we were the Japanese group, and the members of the group were our native speaker, KG. We all call him Senpai. But he is a half Japanese, half Russian Muslim. Yes, I actually have met somebody like that. Then there was Dennis, the aspiring politician. Miriam, the girl who wanted to be a writer, but was majoring in math because her parents made her. Jenny, who was the one who introduced me to the program, and my closest friend while I was at school. And then there was Mike, a self-proclaimed hentai that made jokes at the expense of every group of people you could imagine, even the ones he was a part of. And there would be other people who would come and go, like Gerard would, split the difference between the Japanese group and the Spanish group. There was Terumi, who didn't come second semester because she had a class during the time. But that was our group. And every day, when we come to dinner, we would basically sit in this own little room that was pretty much like the opposite part of the residence hall from the dining hall, but it's still connected to, the dining hall where you would get your food. So we would actually go through the kitchen to get our food. We get our food, and then we come back and we'd sit down and eat. And when we were done eating, we'd play a game. Well, one day in January 2013, we were playing the game where, each of us would write something on a Post-it note, and then we'd give it to another person, then we'd stick the Post-it that we were given on our heads, and we'd try to figure out what it was. Well, KG thought it would be a brilliant idea to give Mike the Mayans. So, when we started asking questions, it was really funny because Mike could not figure out what it was that he had. He eventually narrowed it down to a group of people, but he couldn't figure out who that group of people was. He guessed Atlanteans, Antarcticans, and it was just crazy. And even the guy that, took our cards when we went to go get our meal, I overheard him tell a coworker, "I know what it is." Well, at the end of dinner, he still hadn't figured it out. So he took the Post-it off, looked at it, and was like, "Who the which was absolutely hilarious because we had just had the turnover of the Mayan calendar the month before, and it's just, Mike is somebody who just spends all of his free time watching anime, and so apparently he's just oblivious to everything else. And almost every day would be something crazy like that, and now you know why I've missed it this whole time. So if any of you guys are actually watching this video, we need to have a Japanese group reunion. It needs to happen. And now that that little side tangent is done, and you know what a living learning community is, I'm going to talk about the actual build now. And so you have probably noticed by now that this is not the traditional residence hall structure that you would think of when you think about on-campus housing and college. This is actually a cluster floor plan, which pretty much was lifted minus a mini suite from the new residence hall where I went to school. And I did talk about that in the last video. So if you haven't checked that out yet, again, be sure to do so. But I kind of wanted to do that for the top floor of these residence halls, just because I figured, the top floor would be a little bit more expensive, and it'd be there'd be a bonus to living there. On the other one, it was having your own room, and that's pretty big. But on this one, it's being with a community of people that have the same interests as you. They're studying the same thing, or I don't even know what kind of community it is, because when I'm working on this, I'm not thinking about what happens during the school year. I'm thinking about what happens during the summer. So this is where everyone that's in the summer work program at Foxbury lives during the course of that program. And I decided to go with the cluster idea because, number one, I don't think anybody else is doing that. Number two, it felt more like an actual community, there's the living room, there's the kitchenette that this one has without the stove because you can't put stoves in these rooms. And I know that a lot of people were complaining about that, but, they don't even want you to bring, heating pads into these residence halls. You can't even bring candles. So, yeah, it would make sense that there wouldn't be any stoves. I don't remember if there was a stove in the new hall clusters or not. But there is a place where you can prepare food, make a sandwich or something that doesn't need to be heated up, and there is a microwave, and there's, a fridge where you can store food and stuff like that. That's what makes this one a little bit different from the last one I did. And also what makes it different are the mini suites. Now there are 5 mini suites, and each mini suite has a shared vanity area and a bathroom that's pretty much like a toilet and a shower. And each of those mini suites has 2 bedrooms, which I already explained in the previous video. And where you will notice that these bedrooms are really tiny compared to the other ones. But that's how they actually are at New Hall. that's, how it would be, because when you think about it, the other one was basically an upperclassman floor. And this one, it's for everyone, including freshmen. So not to completely harp on freshmen or anything, because that's just stupid. But, if you're going to give upperclassmen their own little area, then it has to be kind of like nicer than the area for the lower classmen or everybody else, just because you're rewarding them for all their hard work or something like that. I don't even know. That's just the way it works. But anyway, whereas the other one, had 2 stories, this one only has 1 story. And I wanted the 2 dorms to look similar, but not the exact same. So what I decided to do is, when the 2-story one has the wall height on the lowest wall height, but this one actually has the tallest wall height. I don't know, I might change it when I look at it, but I do want to do at least like the medium wall height, because there were some windows that I did want to put in the other residence hall thing, and I just didn't get to, just because it didn't really fit. And I don't know, I might change it. As always, I'm recording this voiceover when I get the chance, and that doesn't always, coincide with whether I've done the actual build or not. In this case, I'm doing this before the build. So if I have changed it, you will be seeing that in the video, but I would like to update you guys a little bit on my situation, but I don't have enough video left to do that. So instead, I'm going to talk about the results of the stuff pack. And after this latest disaster, I just felt like the universe owed me to give me at least a result that wasn't going to, impact my mental health. And the universe pulled through, because arts and crafts won. So I am so happy. I mean, not arts and crafts particularly, but just that there was a certain thing that didn't get into the stuff pack. I'm just happy beyond words right now. I'm not all that thrilled about knitting, to be honest. And it's not really because, like, knitting is like an old lady hobby, because, people of all different ages and gender identities knit. But it's just because I have never really seen or remember seeing anything that was knitted that I actually liked the look of. All of it is really ugly. And so I guess my kind of fear for this knitting pack is that everything is just in it is just going to be ugly. That's not what I want. I don't want ugly clothing. I don't want ugly furniture. But you know what? It's better than some of the alternatives. So you know what? I'll take it. You guys know what happened when I recently chased after a win. I'll take what I can get at this point. I honestly will. And, it's not, we'll get to basically vote on, I think like the clothing style or the object style. And so hopefully people don't go for the, really ugly looking stuff, if there is going to be ugly looking stuff. But because the whole reason I got Laundry Day was because I liked the Creative Sim stuff. And laundry ended up being really good anyway. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. I do hope that some of the other, hobbies will get implemented into the pack, like glass blowing or pottery. But I don't know. I'll just take this, we'll see what the next vote is and go from there, I guess. Anyway, this video is wrapping up, so I'm going to be leaving you here. If you enjoyed this build, you can always leave a like and a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Also, you can follow me on social media at Instagram at VisitJoan if you want to see behind the scenes fun facts or stuff like that. If you want to see my thoughts on Sims related stuff, you can follow me at Twitter at VisitJoan Videos. Yeah, I think I totally messed that up. Instagram is VisitJoan. But anyway, I'm gonna leave now. Bye, everybody. I can't even form words right now. Bye.